Nice. Yeah. All right. I think we're live. It's really hard to tell whenever you're going with mobile. Um, I found that I'll say go live and then I'll start talking to the audience and then it'll on the replay it's like in the middle of my sentence it pops on. So hopefully I gave it a long enough pause once I hit live that it's actually gonna work. Hey guys, it's your boy Scudder for Mike drinking some of this Singha sparkling water. Dude, this stuff is great. Absolutely delicious. It's so much better than anything else on the market. Like, it's not even comparable. Like, it's almost like a treat drinking this water. So, yesterday we had we had that scuffed dude. Hey Maurice, what's up, man? I am live. Excellent. Okay, cool. Um, so dude, thank you for all the engagement, man. Like, I don't know how to say your name. It's very unique. Moritz is what I'm guessing. But yeah, man, like an old schooler for the Scudder for My channel for sure. Uh, you did some game design too. I remember you mentioned to me once. Was it was it Shadowrun? Is that what you told me? I think it was. Yeah, it's a bright, kind of cloudy Sunday morning. Ah, okay. Oh, yeah. Hey, thanks, Bargle. Oh, maybe you know what? Maybe he changed his mind. He's like, I don't really like it that much. Yeah, dude, that's cool. You did some game design, man. Like, I mean, honestly, I don't. I think I lack a lot of creativity. Sometimes I'm good at communication skills. I'm kind of organized, but as far as like like the idea guy, that's not me. Yeah. So what was that like? Can you tell me a little bit about that? Like that's really cool, dude. Like doing game design stuff. Ah, okay, there you go. There it is. It's Bargle. Dude, here's the thing though, Bargle. Your name incites in me something. Bargle the infamous. Yeah. Right on, dude. Well, yeah. Well, I appreciate the support, dude. Honestly, like it's been really fun getting to know everybody. I've been, I've like one of my videos kind of took off, and some guys on Twitter, the Bro SR guys, they've kind of run with it and shared a lot of my content, and they mention me now in their videos, and they always call me, what do they say, Scooter for Mike or Scuffed Mike. I'm like, it's Scuddifer. It's a short U sound. But it's cool, man. Yeah, thanks for the support. Yeah, so the purpose of this stream, guys, we are looking at the fiction that I've been reading, and we're gonna try to keep this ball rolling. You always want to, if you're playing games, if you're running games, you want to be like bringing in fiction and absorbing content so you can make your games a little bit more fun. So yeah, yeah, I don't forgive you for that Alina incident. She could have just left, right? She didn't have to chase you down. You had to do what you had to do. No, when I first read that, I was like, okay, so Alina dies. Let's go back and try a different. Let's make a different choice. Maybe if I succeed here, she does. Oh, okay, Alina dies. It's messed up. Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's so he's saying, just be yourself. It's as good, like. But his fart talking about game design. There's no money in it. It was a side gig for him. That's what this channel is for me. And it's really interesting you say that, Maurice, because yesterday I made a post about how I've been seeing all these YouTube content creators who are saying, "Oh, we're so over Watsy. Watsy's driving us crazy." That with the OGL incident, with the Pinkerton incident, and then they are all hopping on board the 6E train. And I was thinking, I was like, I'm not going to hold it against them because this isn't their side gig. This is like their job. Like they do YouTube and that's their career. And if they don't make those videos, if they don't get those clicks, like their income streams dry up, the employees that they've hired, their editors and stuff, like they'll have to let them go. And so I don't hold it against them. But since this is just my side gig, my actual job, it takes care of me and my wife. We're good. This is for fun. So that means I have that freedom that comes with that. This just being a hobby that I can actually talk about the things that I want, and I'm not going to be held hostage by the algorithm. So, okay. So yeah, let's get back to the topic. What have I read this week? I actually tried to do this live stream yesterday, and it did not work out. It was like basically muted the whole time. You could only hear like a fraction of my voice. So also, if you guys don't mind telling me, can you hear me right now? I don't know. Like, I hope you can. So I have been reading H.P. Lovecraft and Robert E. Howard. Oh, perfect, dude. Thank you. Um, I'm trying to. I don't want to say I'm reading through the appendix in. I'm not doing that because that would take forever, and I like to have a diversity of fiction. Oh, good. Yeah, loud and clear. Says, hope you can be one of them. Only for OSR. Fun should be the main reason. Exactly, dude. Like that. Like I get that people they make a lot of money doing YouTube. That's cool. Uh, I, like I'm here to have a good time, to make new friends, and like to talk about things that I love. And and one of the things I love is H.P. Lovecraft. he, I think he's like one of my favorite authors. Like, I mean, I know that like there's all this drama around his history and stuff, and like obviously that's all crap. But if the thing is like I don't have to like a person to like their art. If I had to like the person and the art, I would never be able to read or look at anything because I don't like most people. Like I don't get along with most people. All hail Dagon. Yeah, dude. Actually, that was one of the first Call of Cthulhu stories I ever read was Dagon. It was so short. I was like, okay, I'll start with something small and and move into like some of his bigger stuff. But so I got this book. It's a complete tome of all of his Cthulhu mythos, and it's got a cool cover too. It's got like a giant like squid on the front. And so I decided I was going to make my way through this book and read every short story. Now I'm not giving myself a time limit to do this. You know, a year or so. It's not like a New Year's resolution. I got to read all of this in a year. I'm just kind of going with it because with my job, the YouTube channel, hanging out with people, spending time with my wife. You gotta temper all these things. But this week, I read The Picture in the House. Oh yeah, it's got and it's got the ribbon in there too. You gotta have the ribbon. Without the ribbon, it's like why even like with something this size? Come on. Um, so the Picture in the House, guys, have you read that one? Okay, so how about this? Next week I'm gonna read The Outsider. So if you want to read it too and kind of refresh your brain, come back next week. We'll do this together. We can have like a book club. But The Outsider it's about this. It's probably about a few things, but for me, when I'm taking back, like looking back on it, it's about like how just beyond the edge of society and just underneath that veneer of safety is something darker. And so it starts off this kid, he's riding his bike, he's a university student, and he's caught in a thunderstorm. And so he's like in this like really sketchy backwoodsy area of Massachusetts, like just outside of Miskatonic University. And so he tries to get off his bike and like get to safety, and so he like knocks on this door to what looks like an abandoned house. It's all like rickety and dilapidated, and he nobody answers, so he just goes inside, and he realizes like pretty quickly that this place is lived in, and he hears like some movement upstairs, and it kind of freaks him out because he's already stressed out trying to crafty Matt, dude, what is up, man? Good to see you. We're just talking about the short story The Picture in the House by H.P. Lovecraft. It's one of the things that I read this week, and he sees this like ancient tome, and he recognizes it right away by its title, and he's like, wait, what's going on here? Like, this shabby place has like this really rare and like valued artifact. And so he starts flipping through it, and he sees this picture of a cannibalistic butcher chopping up people, getting them ready for dinner. And like it just kind of like he's like ugh, it kind of like locks him up a little bit. And I think about like the pictures I've seen. There have been some things that I was like, man, I wish that I had not seen that. And you kind of like just instantly kind of turn away. And I kind of get that feeling of like it sits with you for a while. Or if you see like one of those like if you're on Twitter and you're scrolling, you just see like one of those like crazy videos that people post sometimes of like of an accident or like an animal attack, and you're just like, why did I see that? Like I can't unsee that now. And so I was like, that kind of resonates with me a little bit. But that's whenever like this old creepy man comes into the room, and the student, he's like, he's a bookish kid, right? He's a maybe he doesn't hit the gym, and so he sees this old man, and you kind of think, you make a picture in your brain about like an old guy, and then he goes on to explain how he's like this like corded muscle, massively tall, like old man strength, and he's like super intimidated all of a sudden. He's like, oh, okay. But the guy's sweet, right? He's got that veneer of politeness, but it doesn't take long before you see just beyond the surface there's something else, something darker, right? Just like that book, right? It goes back to that same theme of like, oh, this book, it's like this priceless artifact, it's so beautiful, but once you open it, you realize that there's something twisted inside here, right? And so the old man explains how it came into his possession, and like he's trying to take care of the kid, right? That's what you think, or that's what he says. But he's like, oh, I've got something for you. And he opens up that book, and he goes back to that page, and the kid's like, he's just squirming in his seat the whole time. He's like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. But the old man is like, oh, you gotta see this picture. It's the best thing ever. And he goes right back to that butcher chopping up people. And just like that, like you see the veneer just kind of wipe away, and the old man starts kind of like drooling. He's like foaming at the mouth at the idea of like, oh, I've always wanted to try it. Not really, no, not really, but chop up some, chop up some animals, right? We got to butcher our sheep. And at that point, you realize, okay, so there's no direct Cthulhu mythos in this short story, which I kind of, I'm reading the collection for the mythos, but you still get that darkness of society. Maybe he's performing these cult rituals, chopping things up for something bigger, something darker, Nyarlathotep or Yog-Sothoth, or just for his own morbid curiosity. But right at the end of the book, the university student gets saved with like literally by like a bolt of lightning. It saves him. Um, I don't think it was Authoritative News Network. I don't think it was. It was about an African cannibalistic cult. I might be wrong, because there is a list of a bunch of Cthulhu books, the Mythos books, in the Call of Cthulhu 7th edition Lore Master's Guide, and I didn't cross-reference to see if the name was on that list, but, oh, okay, yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. Africa's Dark Secrets. Yeah. Africa's Dark Sex. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I mean, that to me is really cool. I actually love that story. I was telling the guys earlier that if you guys want to read The Outsider next week with me, I'll come back. We can talk about it. You can share your takeaways from it, because book clubs are fun. I love talking about books. I could do that all day. Yeah. So an excellent, you guys, for a second there. Okay, I think I'm back. Yeah, had a little mishap there. A little little alarm went off. I don't know why I had an alarm at 7:06, 7:09. That's weird. Anyway, so let's go on to the next story. I didn't get a chance to really mention this one much yesterday. So if we are back, if we're back connected, you just let me know. the again another massive just beast. This one lacks the ribbon, which I think is kind of lame. But you know, I just got like my bookmark up here, stuffed in the top. Um, I didn't know how awesome Howard was. I have read some of his stuff before, and I grew up on the Conan movies. Um, my dad actually loved Conan, and I was like 5 or 6 when my dad showed me those first Conan movies. I remember thinking like, there are boobs in this. Like, why is my dad letting me watch this? There's blood. There's a giant snake monster in this. Like, why do I get to see this? My dad was just like, whatever, it's fine. He's cool. Conan's awesome. He's like, you're gonna love it, son. Trust me. And he was right. I still do. So I've read a few of the stories from this. Again, I'm alternating between Lovecraft one night and then Howard the next, just so I can, you know, like kind of keep things moving, have a change of pace. But one thing I noticed, like, so you guys know that like they were buddies in real life, right? One of the stories I read in here, the Phoenix on the Sword, there is, I'm almost certain there is a Cthulhu monster, a mythos monster in that story. The way so he gets a magic sword from a wizard. It's gifted to him, and he's fighting back these dudes in it's like an assassination attempt, and some dude summons a monster to get revenge on one of the assassins, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like some kind of Shoggoth or something, but the way he describes it, the way it's like everybody who looks at it like kind of loses their mind and goes insane. And whenever it can only be harmed by certain magics, and then whenever it gets destroyed by Conan with his magic sword, the creature melts into the ground just like in the mythos. So I was like, maybe that was like Howard's like, I'm gonna drop in one of your monsters into my story and kind of like give him a little shout out to his boy. But that story I read a couple weeks ago. That wasn't this week. This week I read the what was it? Oh, geez, now I'm forgetting the blanking on the title. Oh yeah, The Scarlet Citadel. Dude, that story is massive. Yeah, it starts off. It starts off where like Conan's betrayed again. You know, he's the king of Aquilonia. I think I'm saying that right. Yeah, the cross pollination, man. I'm all about it actually. Like, I think that there was a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe where it was so cool whenever you first saw like Iron Man come into a Spider-Man movie, or you know, like those little crossovers. I was all about that when those movies first started coming out. Like, I don't want to see any of the new stuff. Like, that's all so weird to me now. But I enjoyed it for a while. Like, oh, cool. Yeah, yeah, dude, for sure. Join us. It'll be fun. Let's see what's the chat saying. I can't be here if Bargle is here. Yeah, dude, I know, right? Come on, Bargle. Seriously, man. But yeah, anyway, so the Scarlet Citadel, it Howard did a great job with that. I feel like when, you know, like 50 years ago, when Gygax is like reading these stories and he's like designing Dungeons and Dragons, he had just read the Scarlet Citadel, because not only is there like betrayal of your friends in there, because of course, you know, the patrons are going to be stabbing each other in the back, but there's politics. People are trying to steal Conan's his crown. They shove him down into a dungeon with the dude's torch. He's got a torch, right? It goes out on him twice during his dungeon adventure. Like, what are you gonna do in the dark, Conan? Come on, seriously, bro. I was like, yes, man, this is perfect. I love, like, whenever I'm running my games, I will make the enemies go for the torches every time. Like, the first round of arrows is trying to knock out the lanterns. Like, if there's like little goblins, they're trying to throw their goblin piss on the torches to put them out. Like, anything I can do to kill the light, I love that. And so, like, when Howard put that in the story, I was like, okay, this is why it's inspiring D&D right here. Am I diabolical? I think the game's too easy if you don't kill the light. Honestly, like, once you get a couple of magic, like if you get like magic armor, a shield, if you get your AC down to like 0, 19, it's too easy. The game's easy. Like, you could say versus death, but it's like how often is that fun? You know, like oh you got poisoned again. You go for their light, and then then they scramble. You will see them like either they roll their eyes because they know that like they're in a lot of trouble and they don't like it, or they'll be terrified and they'll look at each other like, "What do you do? What are we gonna? Who's gonna light the? You light the torch." So in the Scarlet Citadel, Conan he is betrayed. He's thrown down into a dungeon. There's a random plant of some guy from his past who like helps him out just in the right time by trying to kill him, but getting eaten by the giant snake. So it all kind of worked out. Oh, we got an actually here, huh? Dark vision, huh? Oh, dark vision. Interesting. I don't know what dark vision is, so sorry. We only have infravision in my games. Nerds. Yeah, no, I think that you could probably fix fifth edition if you there's a few things you could do to like make that game super fun because I think that the core of the game actually is really good. You take away dark vision, and any kind of dark vision that you keep, whether it's infravision or if you keep some version of dark vision, you have to make it hard to get through like character creation. It can't just be I choose to have a star elf with sparkly skin and he has dark vision, superior dark vision. Yeah, if you fix that and then you implement one-to-one time. You guys have seen how one-to-one time works in my solo play. It actually does like it does work. Like that you don't have to worry about them full resting after every combat because if you say, look, you have 2 days to accomplish your goal, you have 2 days of travel. You better get there. There's no long rest, and if you do, you lose. No big deal. Like that's your choice. You can do that, but they want to win, and so they'll figure it out if you take away the guardrails. You know, like if you really just let them run with it and face the consequences of their actions, then yeah, then I think actually you will like enjoy fifth edition again. What's this? I also like to goofy physics. Mm. Oh yeah. Okay, sure. Yeah, yeah. All different kinds of ways to like. Okay, so there are several examples of that in old school dungeons of like just wonky physics and like weird like what in the world is happening here? Like anti-gravity rooms? Oh, okay. Yeah, you're just saying just use normal physics though. Sure, sure. Who here plays fifth edition? The first game of D&D I ever played, climbed down a rope into a well. Didn't have the strength to climb back out. Dude, that is pretty cruel. Sorry, you couldn't climb out, guys. Oh yeah, okay. So Marisa's saying to fix 5e, just get rid of the dark vision and flying. Use all the survival rules. Sleeping armor. Yeah, you gotta like doff your armor. Sure, that would help. Yeah. Tale of the Manticore. Yeah, everybody's been telling me about this. Tale of the Manticore. Is that that's the solo play podcast, right? Man, I've heard about it so much. Yeah. He's still playing 5e. Authoritative News Network. I feel like Authoritative News Network, I feel like I've seen you posting on Twitter. Are you somebody else on Twitter or do you have like a different name? Because man, like I feel like I've seen your I've seen you a lot, but I just can't like figure out who you are on Twitter. Is it the same name? Nice. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to check out Tales of the Manticore. He seems pretty good. Oh, okay, yeah. So you're saying, dude. Okay, yeah, dude. Excellent, awesome, bro. You are. This guy is an OG member of this channel for sure. Then, because he's like, not only is he on Twitter, like he's always like commenting, sharing my stuff. Thank you for the support, bro. I really appreciate it. It's fun growing the channel, but like without your help, like it just doesn't happen. So thank you for real, like genuinely. It's due Deciabius, I think is how you say it. Deciabius? Deciabius? Cool. Right on. Oh, anyway, we were talking about stories, right? Okay, so Conan gets betrayed. He's thrown down in the dungeon. He's got no way out until like this dude tries to assassinate him as a prisoner, and there's a monster down there. Just like it's like the giant snake from that first Conan movie. It's this just massive beast, right? With poisonous fangs. The poison, it's so strong. Save versus poison, guys, for real, because this poison is so strong, it doesn't even bite him. It just kind of like hovers by him, and a little of the poison drips on his leg, and it like leaves a permanent scar just like touching him. So like that was a cool little detail that he added there. I loved that. As far as themes and takeaways from this one, though, I think it was more about like, what do you guys think? I think that like the themes from the H.P. Lovecraft story were very clear, right? Like just beyond the surface of safety is danger. For this one, it might be more about like standing tall, being principled, because everything comes back around, right? At the beginning of the story, Conan's feeling frustrated. He feels like he he's upset with like the politics and like the court intrigue. He wants to go back with like a blade in his hand, and then he has it taken from him, his crown, and he's thrust down into this dungeon. He has to fight his way back to the surface, fight his way back to his people, and at the end of it, he's like fighting to get back that crown. So the thing that he was feeling so frustrated with, he actually is like, and the people that he is like so disenfranchised with, he's actually going back to save them, going back to like he's fighting tooth and nail, crawling out of the mud to get back to where he was. And so I think that like yeah, maybe there's like a grass is always greener principle, but like standing tall and being principled. Like I'm not sure. What do you guys think for that story? For those of you who have read the Scarlet Citadel, what are the themes that really stood out to you? Maurice saying in Germany D&D wasn't that popular before 5e. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's true for America as well. I started playing 5e the moment that it came out, because that was my first real shot at Dungeons and Dragons, and so I just took the reins. I just bought the starter box and just went for it. Oh yeah, yeah, that Dragonbane. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't like any of the animal stuff. If I play fifth edition, it's only the Lord of the Rings classes: humans, dwarves, elves, and halflings. That's it. Yeah. D&D PCs don't have enough scarring. Yeah, I mean there are things you can do, but the problem is like without like a constant reminder that it's there, I think most people like, oh yeah, I only have one eye anyway, so let's keep going. Like it's kind of hard to remember. Oh yeah, I only have one eye. So yeah, yeah, it's weird. I don't like. I mean, it does kind of look like Darkwing Duck. Do you guys remember that cartoon? It looks like Darkwing Duck, the Dragonbane cover. Yeah, I've never played it. I don't know anything about it. But I can tell you that as far as the Scarlet Citadel is concerned, I loved it. It was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I I am looking forward to the next one. The next one we're going to read, guys, is The Tower of the Elephant. Everybody online was saying how that's the best Conan story. So in the book, it is the next in line. I'm not skipping any of them. We're going through them. So the first one was the Hyperborean Age, or maybe the Hyborian Age. It was just the history of this map. It was really boring. I didn't like it, because it's literally just a history. But then the Phoenix on the Sword. After that is the Scarlet Citadel, which we just read. And then the Tower of the Elephant is the very next one. So we're going to start that one probably tomorrow, which is Monday for me. And yeah, if you guys want to read that one, it looks pretty short. I scanned ahead. It looks like 5 or 6 pages. So you guys could read that one like really easily. Come back, tell me what you loved about it. I think that'd be pretty cool. So Duckman is a rune quest, or DuckTales. I've never played RuneQuest. I have behind me. I don't know if you guys can see it. I have the Pendragon starter box. I picked that one up when I was in America. No, I'm down for some King Arthur stuff. Like, let's go have a crusade against the infidels. I'm down for something like that. So I haven't. I opened it up. It's got a lot of the same content that the starter set has for Call of Cthulhu. It's got a solo play adventure to teach you the rules and create a character. It has an adventure in it. Call of Cthulhu has more adventures. It has three. This one has a 5-year campaign to play with you and the boys. It's got a bunch of pre-made nights already. And so, oh geez, my hair is like so in my eyes. It's got a bunch of pre-made nights. It comes with some dice. What else does it have? It's got the character sheets for you to like physically hold, which I think is great. So I'm as far as like starter boxes are concerned, Chaosium does a great job of giving you like the tools you need to play the game, right? Now the 5th edition starter box, it had a little Dungeon Master's Guide. It had an adventure that was really long and probably the best adventure that they ever did, The Lost Mines of Phandelver, and then it had dice. Oh, and it had some. It did have some printed character sheets that that had ties into the story, which it's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah. Oh, what are you guys talking about? Okay. Let's see. I gotta finish wrestling, babies. Have a good night. All right, man. Hey, Tag. See you later, buddy. Yeah. Review Le Mort de Arthur. Is it a story? I don't even know what it is. Is it a book? Ah, okay. So Marisa has some experience. He says it's great, but Pendragon's great, but the rules. Ah, okay. Not so much on the rules, huh? I know that one session is a year in the campaign. So like they're messing around with time too. They get it. They know how important that time is. You can't just you can't just hit the pause button and have your interest kind of keep going. So they get it, but I think maybe you can just pause in between years, right? So I don't like that. Like they're not actually using like consistent timekeeping. It's still kind of a stop time, but like they just kind of they push the calendar forward. So I mean, like at least they understand that time is important. I'll give them that, but I don't think every game you play has to have one-to-one time. Honestly, like I'm gonna play Call of Cthulhu. I'm not gonna use one-to-one time. I'm gonna, like if I did, they'd all be dead. It's not gonna happen. So, and the thing is there's not enough downtime activities to keep the investigators going, right? Like, I mean, you probably could figure something out. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, like the wheels are turning. I'm like, the investigations can happen like at the table and through text as well. Like that would actually be really fun. It says R-Dub saying Mallory completed Le Mort de Arthur in about 1470. It's printed. Really? You read it when you were 12? Dude, I'm gonna have to try it. Yeah, you're right. The healing takes one day. You're right. There are elements of one-to-one there. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Library use is a good downtime skill. Yeah, like my mind is starting like, hold on, we could do this. Yeah, it would actually be pretty cool. And you look at like the books and it says like it takes 3 months to fully read this book and gain this much mythos and like lose this much sanity. And I was like, okay, well, if you're not using one-to-one time, that will never matter. And then like healing your sanity, you have to spend like a month in a sanitarium. So there's something there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I think actually we could do Call of Cthulhu with one-to-one time. I would probably need some help with the guys, like the wiser minds than myself kind of help me like come up with some different activities that the investigators can do. But like just generally like I'm traveling to this area and I want to do the research, like I want a newspaper search or whatever. All that could happen through text like that. You could play. Yeah. Dunder is doing a Mask of Nyarlathotep one-to-one. Yeah, they would have to know the pitfalls. That game is huge. I bought it. It's right there on my desk. I mean, like just beyond the Hero Quest. Yeah, I am going to run that eventually. Dude, if I ran that one time, that would be so awesome. I would love it. Anyway, the last thing I read this week because we did. Oh, the DMG. I'm still reading that one. Yeah, I'm still reading the DMG. I only have a PDF of this one, so it's not going to be as clear. But it's called Doors to Darkness. It's a collection of one shots from Chaosium for Call of Cthulhu. Because again, I'm trying to learn that system alongside the Dungeon Master's Guide. So I'm learning two systems right now, and so I'm doing my short stories. One either Lovecraft or Howard. I'm reading one shots in Call of Cthulhu to kind of familiarize myself with that game. I read The Darkness Beneath the Hill. Really a cool story. I was telling the guys yesterday, whenever we were trying to go through this the last time, that there are parts of it that I like. There are parts of it that I will use, but in general, I feel like it was too much like a dungeon crawl, and I don't want to do a dungeon crawl in Call of Cthulhu. I want to do a horror mystery game. But last night I was reading, boom, the DMG, and I was getting into Surprise. I think Gary could have done a better job explaining it, but I watched a video online after I read this, and it made it a little bit more clear. Yeah, it seems pretty easy. I think most of the time, unless I'm wrong, most of the time it's just check to see if the PCs are surprised because the monsters probably won't be. But there's a chance they can be. But most of the time, your interaction is going to be, are the PC surprised? If not, roll initiative. If not, go to combat. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, working through the DMG. Eventually, I'm gonna get my solo play on the channel and off the ground, but I don't know. Honestly, first edition, I have not been impressed yet. The player's handbook, I'm like, I love all of the class changes compared to BX. Like, the thief is better, the magic user is better, the fighter is better. The classes are so much better. But so far from what I've read in the DMG, I'm just like, I don't know if I'll ever use any of this stuff. Will it ever come up? Like, how fast, I was saying yesterday, like, how fast does a Jinn turn? I don't know, like, is that going to come up in my game? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm reading it, and I'm like, okay, there's a rule. That's cool. I'm glad to see that there's a rule for it, but I don't know if I'll ever use it. It's like, yeah. I'm not saying that I'm going to throw it out. Just rather, will it ever come up? I don't know. Yeah. All right, guys. We're going to wrap it up pretty soon. Thank you for joining me on this week's version of Story Time with Mike, Scudder for Mike. I'm going to head over to my brother's house. He and I are planning we have, so Beijing, it's a small community, and we've got a few thousand foreigners and people from all over the world. And they all love Dungeons and Dragons. So it's kind of cool. Like I have like a very large player population that I can pull from, which is why my 1-to-1 time game has been so successful. We have 14 players right now in that game. And we have decided that we're going to do a live play event for Dungeons and Dragons. It's kind of scripted because I'm writing a story, but the actors on stage, they're all professional actors. They don't know the story. So it's kind of like I'm writing a module, which is very different than the D&D that I normally play. But we are going to put it online whenever it actually is done. It's happening on June 22nd. We've been doing rehearsals. Like, they're kind of learning how to play D&D, the version that I'm going to run for them, which is like a version of BX, basically. And so they're kind of just like learning how to use their characters today. We're going to do a run through of that. And then I'm going to surprise them up on stage. There's going to be a live audience who's going to give them suggestions and help them solve the puzzles. And maybe have the audience kind of like give them negative quirks that they have to like role play out. Like, we're pretty excited about it. It's going to be a good time. So today's one of the rehearsals. I'm going to have to get going to that. But I just want to say thanks to you guys for all of the support. Thanks for showing up today. It's been a really fun doing a live show. I usually don't do the live, so yeah. All right, guys. I'll catch you later. Bye bye.